Tara Peak. I'm going to talk a little bit about judgment today. Judgment's a real big one. I'm raising 2 kids, and as I see them grow, and I have this 7-year-old daughter, and I watch her start to come into her own self and her own recognition of who she is. And I see small little bits of judgment, of being hard on herself, and realize that a lot of this just comes from habit. A lot of this just comes from what we see. You know, judgment is such a big one when it comes to healing too. On my own journey, I realized that there was not much that I was able to accomplish until I started to tap into the energies of what makes a human healthy and what makes our environment and our world healthy, which is why I talk so much about energies, is now I see everything in that way. I was a vegetarian for 25 years, a vegan for 5 of it. I was the sickest I'd ever been when I was a vegan. And I realized that a lot of this was because the reason I was eating this way and choosing these specific foods was due to the judgment that I had of what it was to not be a vegetarian. And it started to really register to me when I was thinking to myself, the sickest I'd ever been is when I was the most judgmental towards everyone else. I didn't do these things thinking that I should be the only one doing it. I did it thinking all of humanity should be this way. Everyone should do what I'm doing. And anytime we're coming from a state where we think we know what's right, we are judging everyone else. And when I finally came to this realization that I had to embody and turn everything forward to look at myself, that is when it all shifted. I was the hardest on judging who I was and how I viewed the world. And I would go out and I would see suffering and I would see the problems of the world. And I wanted to be that person who stood on my soapbox and gave all of my energy for change. But the more we give our energy to the things we don't want, the more we make those things we don't want stronger, because that's how energy works. In order to be the biggest example, to not judge is to go within ourselves and to be almost like a silent soldier, to stand up within our own body, to completely embody what we want, and that energy expands from us. And that is what is felt and touched by those who aren't even connected to their conscious. Some people just walk through this world with a fog. Well, I want to kind of go into judgment a little bit more in the areas of healing and the areas of our perspective of the world. We can always tell when we're judging ourselves, because if we're looking around and we're seeing lots of problems and suffering, inside we believe that there is problems with us, problems within us, in our body, in our mind, in our situation in life, or that we are suffering. We are suffering in ourselves. So when we see something in the world, or we're pointing our finger, or looking at a person and pointing out their flaws, which we often can do, when we are going into that state of judgment, it's often an insecurity and a judgment we have on ourselves. And when we finally come to this place where we no longer judge anyone for their choices or how they behave or what they wear or what they don't wear or what religion they are, anything, when we come to that space, we're starting to really do some serious healing. The way that our body responds to us is more of a relationship. There's this study by Masaru Emoto. He wrote this book called Messages from Water. And he took this water from all these different places in Japan. He flash froze it, and all of them came out with different crystals. Some were beautiful, some were misshapen, some were, spectacular. And he started to do more tests with water, realizing that environment really has an effect on the water and how they crystallize. So he started to tape words onto glass jars like hate, love, war, beauty, and crystals that they created from the ones that were of love were so magnificent. And the ones that were war, hate, they were blobs. They weren't even like water crystals. And this goes to show how it's so crucial. The very, very, very minute part of our energy affects so much of this world. We live here because of water and air, and we have majority of us is water and air, up to 80%. Some say 75. Whatever it is, it's more water than anything. But because of this, we are affecting ourselves by just our thoughts of ourself. So when we have any judgment of the world, that's really just we have judgment within ourselves. We have to go back in, we have to check that. We have to say, wait a minute, there's something going on here. And when we do that, when we go in and we find this place that we've been judging ourselves, that's when the most healing can come. When we treat our body like it's a relationship, it's a friend, we start to give gratitude to everything that it does for us, everything that it does while we're asleep. Well, it all works. And when we finally come to this relationship of love and joy and acceptance of what we are, even if we're suffering with something, we come to this place of, I love and accept all of this. When we do, this is when we finally find we will start to heal. Our body, our cells, our life forces in each and every one of them. And if we can connect to our life source by moving through into our deepest, deepest, deepest cells and the spaces in between, we send love and healing to ourselves. We become our own healers. Then all the foods that we eat, we want to eat the right foods. We want to do the right movement and the right exercise and meditation practices, because now we're starting to really build this relationship with ourselves, and it becomes the most important thing. And then our world starts to change because we start to change. And we start to see through different eyes and see a new perspective that we've never seen before. Our perceptions of life are not the truth. They're just a reflection of what eyes we are looking through. So what eyes do you want to look through? And I hope you got something out of this.